Greetings everyone, my name is Tony Holowitz, and in this tutorial I want to talk to you about how a new employee at your company might perceive what they see on the screen when they open up Act. And I want to give you some different information about some of these first looks at Act. So when you open up Act, there are two ways really to work with Act. Act has two versions of their software, and keep in mind Act has been around for more than 30 years. So originally, Act was installed physical desktop software. Yeah, it was resided on your computer. So that's one option. It's still available. It's the desktop version of Act. The second option is what we're looking at right now. It is called Act Premium Cloud. It is Act based in the cloud. You would log in, and typically when you log in, you're going to log in with a password, which you'll need to know. But depending on how you logged in and how it's been set up, typically your username is either your full name. In this case, this contact, who's the user of Act, is called Chris Huffman, or it might be your email address. So again, it's either a name, typically, or an email address, and then a password to log into Act. And you'll need to know that information. But when you first open Act, there's a lot of stuff on the screen, and I want to sort of break down the geography of what we're seeing on the screen. And I'm going to start at the very top. Up here, there's a menu bar. And the menu bar has a lot of drop-down information that you can go look at. And what I'd urge you to do is when you first get into Act, come up here and just click on these items and look at what's here. Now again, there's tons of ways to get to things in software. Act is no different. A lot of times there's more than one way to get to the same info. So when you come up to the menu bar, just look around. Now, I'm going to come down here to the far right. We have different icons here: email, history, note, to do. And again, I'll go over this with you in more detail. Print, duplicate, write letter. These are all things you can work with over here on the right. On the drop down here, it allows us to create new things inside of Act. And again, you'll learn about this stuff as you go along. To the right of this drop down, you're going to see three little dots. And these three little dots allow you to organize the information up here. You're probably not going to deal too much with that. I'm going to click cancel. Next, on the bottom, there's three more dots. And what I want to talk to you about is what you're seeing on the screen. All these fields, the way they look, the colors, the font, the styles, the positioning. This is part of what's called a layout. And you can modify and create new layouts. So in other words, if your company, for example, is in the ice cream business, we can create fields that are unique to your business. We can add them on the layout. This is one of the basic fundamental layouts that comes with Act, but a company can organize Act and add fields that fit the way they do business. And again, you'll see that more later on. When you first logged into Act, there's a chance that you saw a layout that looked very different than this. And that's okay. It's the way the company has customized your Act data. And that is something that's really great about Act. It's highly customizable. So now we have all these fields that are part of the layout. We can change the layout by coming over to these three dots. You need to know the name of the layout you want to choose to look at. But those are the layouts and how you switch. Let's come way over to the left, right here. These are shortcuts to other areas of Act. And I'm going to discuss these in more detail later. I'm not that concerned with this. At the very bottom is another way to do a lookup of information. In this case, you'll see the contact field that's selected is contact. So if you typed in a contact name here and clicked on lookup, you could do a lookup. I got to be honest, it's rare when I use this, because frankly, it's way down to the left. It's out of sight, out of mind. And I don't think it's the best way to initiate a lookup. One other area that I jumped over is up here. This is the universal search in Act. So you can come here and search for things and find it regardless of where it is in Act. And there's different areas of Act. Okay, let's jump down to the bottom of the screen. So you'll notice I've got the left-hand side, and again, I can shrink this in if I want. I can click on this arrow and shrink it in. I'm going to leave it out. We have the left-hand side. We have things across the top. We have the top half of the screen and the bottom half of the screen. On the bottom half, there are all these tabs that you can click on to see more information. So as I start looking at this and recognizing all the things you have in Act, frankly, it can be overwhelming. And as an employee of a company, what I'd hope they would do for you is teach you how to use Act by teaching you how not to waste time on certain things. There are certain things that as you get going are going to be irrelevant. They're not relevant to the way you use Act. In fact, as a Act teacher, one of the things I always suggest to companies is make sure they know exactly what to do so they don't get distracted by all the bells and whistles, because you don't need to know everything to effectively use ACT. And that is a key point. Don't worry about all these aspects, all the things you can do with ACT, because that can be overwhelming. And you know what? That will come with time. But for now, you enter a contact, you look up a contact. In my next tutorial, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about some of the things you can do when you're working in ACT and how you can work with that contact, sort of the fundamentals of running a business while looking at one contact and one contact only. Okay, my friends, thank you very much. Have a great day. Bye now.